Donald from the Pinstripe Chronicles, and I've got my guest host Spencer here.
Hi.
How are you doing, Spence? How are you feeling, my guy?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on today, guys. I'm really, really glad to be here. Really, really glad.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. And we got the Rob Dog. How are you, Rob Dog?
Good, man. Yankees are 10-2, feeling great, and we got Spencer here with us. It's been a long time, so we're glad
Yeah,
to see you, Spence.
it's really good to be here with you, Rob. Good to be here with you, Don, and of course, I'll be real happy when Bobby gets here, no doubt.
And yeah, Tats has got all kinds of stuff going on behind the scenes, trying to get everything up and going. Seems to be some sort of odd day for technical stuff for all of us, so we're just hanging in there. So we appreciate the patience from everyone in the chat. And while we do so, let's say hello to the chat. What we got going on, chat? We got Jonathan. Good morning, Jonathan. We got Medina. Good morning. FJ. Good morning. Got Joan Seco. Good morning. Got NFE. Good morning, everyone. Won't be able to tune in and have an awesome show. Thank you, NFE. You have a great day yourself. 01, good morning. Frederico, good morning. Demon D, good morning. Dev, loyal chat. What up? Stevie B, what up? Joe Coelho, what up? And we have Cold Italian Pizza, by far my favorite tag name. He's saying, what's up, everyone? We go OJ DeReal. We want all the smoke, New York Yankees. Yes, we do. Let's hear it. Let's put the fire emojis in the chat while we do that. Just for my man OG. Put the fire emojis in the chat. The Yankees want all the smoke, baby. We're 10-2, baby. I can't believe it. We're 10-2. What an incredible start to the year. This Yankee team, there's just a different energy about it. We want all that smoke. Oh, Sunil says hello. Jones got the fire emojis in there. What's Sunil saying? I'll spare Spencer. My awful jokes today since September is here after Spencer's here after so long. Yep. Well said, Spence. Why don't we say hello to Robinho? Robinho, give us your thoughts on yesterday's game. Good outing for Rodon.
Rodon was fantastic. That the first three starts for him have been exactly what you'd want. You knew that he probably wouldn't go very deep into his first start, but yesterday he went 6+. He gave you a bunch of pitches. He didn't give up anything. The bullpen helped him out as well. He wasn't necessarily helped out by the defense in that last inning as well, but man, he's been great. And we needed him to answer that call with Cole out. As long as Cole's out, we need Rodon to be number one. We need him to be ace that we're paying him to be. So far, he's been the ace. Absolutely lights out. The guy's pitched incredibly well. I know the Marlins stink, but you need him to be as good as he's been. And there's a big reason why we're 10-2 right now, and he's part of it.
No doubt about that. I agree with that 100%, Rob. And when we were talking during the off season, I was one of the people. I think you guys were also. I said one of the keys to the Yankees' success is that they really didn't have to go out and get anybody. We just needed Carlos Rodon to be Carlos Rodon. And it's evident that he was just not himself last year. And if he could just be healthy, I think we will see a much different and a much better version of Carlos Rodon. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing. We said there were two key points. We need Carlos Rodon to rebound. We need Giancarlo Stanton to rebound. And so far, those two things have happened. And it's instrumental to the very early success that we've been witnessing.
Couldn't agree more. I also agree with the fact that FJ says here, our offense ran into a bit of bad luck. A lot of hard hit balls were right at home. I can't believe the bad luck that we ran into, man. I'm actually in disbelief. I thought Stan was robbed. I can't believe it. I was about to do the whole G-Force thing, as I said in the chat to Robinho, and caught at the top of the wall. I don't even know how because he crushed it. I thought it was a home run every day. There was a lot of bad luck that we ran into, but we still got the top, and a lot of it was down to Rodon. And heck, Rodon probably would have put up a zero right across the board right through 7 innings had there not been that error by Rizzo. I'm glad that Rizzo kind of redeemed himself with the hit in the next inning, but damn, he really made a mistake there. But credit to Our pitching in general, I thought our pitching in general was excellent. Clay Holmes' sinker was working, induced those ground balls. Really nice play by Gleyber Torres as well in the ninth inning. Really nice, really nice stop. There was a lot of nice plays in general. Well played game, and how uncompetitive are the Marlins? They're not even they don't even look they're competitive right now. Apart from Tim Anderson getting a couple of singles, like they just don't look like their at bats are competitive. Like Nestor Cortez just walked right through them. He breezed through them like it was.
Yeah, they made him look like an ace pitcher, no doubt about it.
Well, they did. They did. So, Spence, this is the first time we've spoken to you in a while.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the start of the Yankee season? We're 10-2. What are your thoughts, and do you feel really positive about the outlook of this team?
Yeah, I feel great about this team. I mean, when you look around the league, the tendency for Yankee fans is, let's compare them to the Orioles. Let's compare them to the Texas Rangers. But I always come around and say, let's take a look at our team. Let's take a look at our guys. And our guys are great. Part of what's helping with our guys is the Juan Soto effect, which you guys have talked about on this show, and which you guys are right about. But it goes to show you that sometimes all it takes is one player that can really change the complexion of the team. It's his work habits. It's his championship caliber. It's the fact that he's at the age right now where he is really at the peak of his career. He is old enough where he's got some veteran experience and he's proven his game on the field. He's also young enough where he can take instructions from guys like Judge and Stanton. He's a winner, and it's really affecting the lineup. What I want to say about the lineup, and we've all seen this, they are showing a lot of patience and a lot of selectivity. And in doing that, what they're really setting themselves up for is anybody in this lineup can be the hero of the night in any game. It's not a matter of we need Judge to step up. We need Stanton to step up. It's a situation where one night it could be Verdugo that gets the game-winning hit. One night it could be Austin Wells that gets the game-winning hit. They are simply putting themselves in position, and I believe, again, that's why we're seeing the Yankees with the 10-2 record. The 10-2 record surprises me a little bit because when Cole went down, I'm thinking, okay, if they can hover over 500 until he gets back, that'll be good. But it goes to show you that this team is better than the sum of its parts.
I agree. I'm blown away by our offense. Let's not forget that the first three guys in our batting order lead the lead in most pitches seen. We've got Judge, we've got Soto, and we've got Torres that have seen the most pitches in the majors of the top four. That's a crazy amount. Like we're just seeing a ton of pitches, and now we're seeing Giancarlo Stanton absolutely crushing the ball right now. He's seeing the ball so damn well. The ball is leaving his bat in a crazy amount. It's like way over 100 mile an hour every time it leaves his bat. Like he's just crushing the ball. He's just red hot right now. It's great to see. And then do you look at the rest of the order? Got Verdugo, who's had a slow start, but hit a nice home run yesterday from his knee. I can't say I've seen that in a long time. That was awesome. Up and down the order. Let's look at Birdie's. Birdie's been very useful. The bottom of the order comes in, does well. We got Ozzy. We love Ozzy. Ozzy's been on fire. Up and down the order, there's just been a ton of productivity. I really feel something special about this team. I really do. And the fact is we're 10-2 without Aaron Judge doing much of anything. Which is quite remarkable. He had a good day yesterday, but apart from the odd home run, he's been very, very quiet all year, and we're still 10-2. Can you imagine when he gets hot, which he will? Oh my God, this team's going to be special.
Oh, he's going to hit 45 home runs this year, no doubt about it, and maybe more than that. But I feel 45 from him.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think Soto is going to walk away with the MVP. I can already see it. Rob.
I mean, the fact that Judge is not even hot yet is telling how good this team has been. Anyone is stepping up at any given time, and that's a good thing. That's a sign of a good lineup. It's a sign of a healthy lineup. Volpe's been fantastic. Aside from yesterday, it was probably his worst day of the season, which is telling because last year at this point he wasn't looking very good at all, but he's been outstanding. We haven't played Cabrera in 2 days and it hasn't affected the offense. So everything's clicking right now. And once Aaron Judge does get hot, it's going to be a fun thing to watch. His team could put up 7 or 8 runs on any given night, which last year, if you would have think that we could put up 7 or 8 runs, you would have thought the sky was falling because it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's such a drastic difference between this year and last year that we haven't seen for a little while. And again, April is important. Look what that hot start did for Tampa Bay last year. It kept them in the running the entire time until Baltimore caught fire, and the Yankees just kind of played themselves out of it out of the jump.
Yeah.
This year, this 10-2 start, whether we hit a wall at some point, we don't know, but this 10-2 start is going to be huge because if we do go on like a 3-game losing streak, which is incredibly possible because that's baseball, that's how things work. The fact that we're 8 games right now, a chance to be 9 games over after this final game, that's a great sign.
Yeah.
April is very important, and the Yankees finally realized that because they were kind of sleepwalk through April the last couple of years. 2022, they were kind of hovering at 500, then they caught fire, and then in second half of the season they fell apart. But last year they sleptwalked through the first month and a half until Judge and Bader came back, or first month, and that cost them. It cost them an entire season essentially. So it's great to see that these guys are taking this seriously. The lineup's been essentially the exact same thing. The pitchers, Rodon was pissed last night that he couldn't get out of that inning.
He wanted
it. Yeah, he wanted it. These guys want it. They know they got a chip on their shoulder, and that's what you want to see. They're mad about last year, and they know that they have enough firepower to go win a championship, and it just eluded them every single year, and most of it's their fault. So they're pissed, and they're playing like it, and I love to see it.
Yeah, I would like to echo that sentiment also, Rob. Everything that you say, just put in another way. First of all, the 82 and 80 season, I do believe that is fuel for the Yankees doing things a lot better. I think what the clubhouse has told themselves, what the leaders on that team have said, is that you can't let injuries, you can't let players being down be a reason to not do well. You've always got to step it up, and everybody's got to do better. And they look like a team that is on a mission. Yeah. I think after they lost that game against Arizona, for instance, when they lost 7-0, I think the way that they responded by coming out with the win again, that is what winning teams do. They don't allow themselves to go onto losing streaks. They pick themselves up and they play another game and they win another game. So I think that's a sign that we're seeing as well. No doubt.
I agree. So before we say hello to Uncle Tats, there's a few things here. I believe that there's a lot of upside with this Yankee team that says to me this team is going to be very, very special. It's going to go very, very far this year and make some serious noise in the playoffs, probably a World Series appearance. I'm getting that vibe because there's so much upside. Last year, when we had a hot start, I didn't think there was much upside because there was no protection for Judge on the lineup, and there was a lot of things I was worried about. There was no left fielder, and there was a lot of things that I was concerned about, and I was very concerned about the fact that the Yankees were kind of sleepwalking, as Rob pointed out, through the first half of the year. They never seemed to take games seriously, and they were always seeming to be planning for series ahead. They were always like missing the series that we're taking part in, and always looking ahead for the next one. Yeah. You're not guaranteed any of that. You gotta take the wins when you can get them. Because you don't get wins taken off the board in April and May, and they're not any less important in April and May. And the Yankees have figured that out because they are sending out the same lineup, and they're going consistently at it. And they're trying to win every single day now. Yeah. And guess what? We're the best team in the league by a distance, and it's not a surprise. You have to play for that day, and the Yankees are doing that this year. It's a big philosophical change. So I don't know who has sat down and decided this philosophical change. I assume Brian Cashman, but it's the right move because this team is 10-2. Yeah, the fan base are on board. They're excited, and instead of us holding our breath every single time the lineup is announced, we're excited every time the lineup's announced because it's the same lineup. Yeah. We're like, let's go. It obviously helps that we've got Juan Soto. Juan Soto is the difference, and I think Juan Soto is going to win the MVP this year. I think by a good distance. He's just the most perfect offensive weapon I've ever seen.
And Donald,
In a
I'm
long,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's a very important point to echo what you said. The
yeah,
philosophy. I think the Yankees, took a look at their analytics, and they definitely have assessed that, and they definitely have made a change in the way that they play. I feel like there's less analytics in their game as well. I also want to point out that it feels like we have the right mix of veteran players and asset players, and everybody's playing. Nobody's trying to play outside of themselves. Case in point,
perfect.
Volpe. Volpe, now he's in his second year, but he's still playing with the respect to the other veteran players to just do what he's supposed to do on the field. He's not trying to do too much. He's trying to get on base. He's just trying to get that hits. He's just trying to drive in that run. He's not trying to do too much. Same thing with Birdie also. Birdie knows what his role is on the team, and he's
Yeah,
playing to his role. And you know something? Sometimes that's all you need. You don't need a guy to be Superman. You just need a guy to do his job, even if it's a
fact.
very limited job.
Look at our dynasty, guys like Ricky Leday or Soho and all these dudes. Like there was a ton of guys that just knew their roles and then they did really well. Shane Spencer. There was a whole bunch of guys that came in, knew their roles, and did their job very, very well. And with that, we say hello to Uncle Tats, who've had some issues there with the old computer. But how are you doing, my guy? How you must be feeling excited after yesterday.
I'm feeling one. I'm exhausted, but I'm stoked about the way this team has been playing, but it doesn't matter about the team right now. I'm just happy that Spencer's hanging out with us today. Spencer, you and I, we've talked. I've spoken with your family, and I'm just glad that things are on the optimistic side.
Thank you, Bob.
And just my thoughts are with you all the time. So
Thank you, Bobby.
I want to get that out of the way. And I also want to take a little side note, and I want to call out Donnie Clark. Right, you're in the chat all the time, asking, "Where's the shirt? Where's the shirt? Where's the shirt? The shirt's here. Respect the tats. Where are you, buddy?" Right? Shame on you. The shirt's here, right? So if you like this, how's this look, guys? Does this look good or what? But no, look, what looks good? This team,
Pretty fire.
This team looks fucking fire. We were the first team to reach the 10-win mark, even though the Dodgers were well into their game for their 10th win. And sorry, time zone be damned. Yankees got it first, so middle fingers in the air to them. But you know what? That's the way the cookie crumbles, as Bruce Almighty says. No, look, I'm in a great mood. Technical issues, aside. Look, this team is clicking, and to Rob's point, these are games in April where we've had a series in hand where we've seen Boone put lineups out, that are computer generated because he doesn't have that control, or has not had. I think this year he does. That they're not just giving away because, all right, we already won the series. You saw that already with the Astros series right from the get-go.
Yeah.
Right? We might have brushed over it, we might not have. But that fourth game of that 4-game set, you might see that punt lineup. Where it's like, all right, let's just get some guys in to get some work in, get their season, debuts underway. No, the consistency in this lineup has been a big driving force of the success of this team behind solid pitching, right? We are 10-2 without our ace.
Yeah.
We are 10-2 without our MVP and Judge not clicking on all cylinders. Without, Torres in the leadoff spot, tearing the cover off the ball.
Yeah.
So when you look at the broad spectrum of what this team has been able to do, guys that have been written off have shown up.
Yeah.
We were ready. We were questioning the whole offseason. What do you do with Cabrera? Oswaldo Cabrera, what's his role? Where's he going to go? What did after last year, he had a very subpar year. what is he going to bring to the table? Well, he's been bringing it, and it really I'm not even gonna. It bothers me that he's not in the lineup, but I understand. You have ground ball pitchers in Miami on our roster, so against Miami, so you want to have more of a defensive strong team. So you're going to put Birdie at third. Smart baseball move.
Yeah.
They're not, as much as look. I don't want to see Cabrera, cool off because he's sitting on the bench. If he comes out the next game and he goes, 1 for 3 or 2 for 4, no harm, no foul, right? But you really just want to see. We're seeing that consistency in the team that we haven't been able to see for a long time. And I saw somebody put in the comments earlier, Stroman Rodona coming onto this team like we saw with CC and Burnett. I'm not a big comparison guy. You guys know that. But the vibe of the team is similar. There's really no denying that. Bringing, a Teixeira onto a team. We're seeing that with a Verdugo where, the slow start, but the high energy.
Yeah.
I think is a good comparable to it. And Soto's just on another freaking level.
Yeah.
There's no comparison to Soto. This team is exactly where we need them to be. And I'm just there's no bad vibes around this team. It's incredible. Especially with the teams that we've had to go against, with the Astros, the Diamondbacks, to go to the Blue Jays. This is kind of like our first, quote unquote breather team with the Marlins because the way they've been struggling.
Yeah.
But the guys on their roster, are not pushovers either. It's just not clicking for them.
Yeah.
They're just an organization to dismay. And believe me, Susan Wallman said it perfectly on the radio broadcast. Kim Ang is looking at that record and laughing her way to the bank. The way that they push her out of that organization to see them crumble without her leadership as in the GM role. So, I mean, everything is just coming together, is coming up roses for the Yankees. Yeah. And, hey, bring it. Let's keep
I'm
it
glad
going.
for Kim Ang also. I'm glad that, she's, with what happened and to see what's happened to them. I feel bad for the Miami fan base. You can comment on that.
What fan base, bro?
It's tough, yeah.
What fan base
it's
you
tough
feel bad
losing
for?
like that. That's a miserable way to, if you're a fan, for the few fans that are out there, it's just a miserable way to have to watch your team just struggle like that.
Let's say a little bit.
They were a playoff team last year, though.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. But this is 4 straight playoff teams that we've started off against, and we've only lost 2 of those games.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure Toronto made it last year, right? They were a wild card team.
No, they didn't make it last year. I don't think. Did they? Oh, you're right. They did. I'm sorry. They did. They did.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Yes, they did.
They flamed out. Yeah. That controversial pitching change. That's right. In game 2. That's right.
The entire AL East didn't win a playoff game, so it's pretty interesting. But 4 straight playoff teams from last year, and we've come out of the gates on fire. So hopefully we just keep it going. It is a great feeling, though. That doesn't matter about the record now. I just glad we didn't play them when they were winless because I felt like they would have won one of these games. I'm glad they won their first game before they played us because I was like, I don't want to play a winless Marlins.
Yeah, exactly.
They would have beat us. It's just how it always works.
I hate playing a team on a long losing streak because
the law of averages,
especially at the stadium, teams have a tendency to just up their game when they play the Yankees to begin with.
Yeah,
at the stadium, they just bring it a little bit more. So they got that win out of the way. And we were able to just kind of put them in their place, going, oh, you're a bottom feeder team. The Marlins don't even know if they're already talking about moving on from the manager a week into the season. They're debating whether to take his option or not. I mean, come on now. This team, this ownership group, once Jeter left, and then they decided to make the stupid move and moving on from Kim Ang. I mean, what do they, this is why we need this. This is why we need my rules of baseball. This is why I need to be the commissioner to fix this league, because this is exactly what I'm trying to get, go against the grain on.
Yeah.
Don't settle for mediocrity because the money's going in your pocket. You have a baseball team in a college town. College sports runs Florida. We understand that. whether it's football, basketball, whatever, right? Here you have a chance to kind of go above the grain and be like, we're going to push back. We're going to be the premier team because we're Major League Baseball. We're the cream of the crop. We're the professional league, and they keep pissing in the wind on it. It serves them no purpose. It's embarrassing to the fans, and it actually is degrading to baseball. It's amazing how bad they could be, and still stick their chest out that they're a major league team. We watched them for 2 games for a team that was in the playoffs last year, being a wild card. It's terrible. It's really sad.
It starts from the top, Bobby. I mean, I agree with you. I apologize for cutting you off, but
nope.
You're definitely that I really
off.
believe in. It's disheartening. And I feel for the fan bases that have owners that are apathetic about their teams. This happened for years in Seattle. It happened with Cincinnati. It happened with Baltimore. I mean, a lot of fans, in New York, were very critical of Hal Steinbrenner. You hear a lot of fans saying he doesn't care about the team. He doesn't want to spend money on the team. It's an argument for another day. Hal cares about the team. He wants to win. If you ever think the Yankees are a team that doesn't want to win, look at those teams. There are some teams out there that have owners, which you're right, all they care about is the bottom line. I would think as an owner, a billionaire owner, they have some competitive spirit in them. You see a lot of owners that get involved with horse racing. They get involved with sailing. Billionaire owners in baseball, they want to win. They want to crush you. You would think that would be reflective in sports. I really cannot understand an owner that just buys a team and all they care about is the revenue. And if you're an owner like that, you really shouldn't be in the league. And I feel the fans that are stuck with owners like that because the league can't get them out. And quite frankly, they're not going to get them out.
I mean, yeah, we're going a little bit off tangent.
Let's get back to the
Yankees. This is not a discussion about the Marlins. I mean, at the end of the day, the Marlins, they still made the playoffs last year. I think that argument is more prevalent for the Oakland A's, frankly. They're the disgraceful team. They've moved to a minor league ballpark because they can't get anybody to go into their terrible Coliseum, and then they're going to send them to the Las Vegas, and they're not even going to be the Oakland A's anymore. They're going to be the A's, which is the dumbest thing ever. So anyway, by the by, we're the Yankees. We're 10-2. Let's focus on the Yankees, right? Yep. So we're in really good shape. I feel that there's, as I mentioned before, I feel there's a lot of upside to come because we've still got Garrett Cole to come.
Yeah.
And we've still got some bullpen arms to come in. And we've got guys that all know their roles, as Spencer rightly pointed out. We're getting good outings from Rodon. And Rodon just needed to prove his health, as Spencer rightly pointed out as well. A lot of it was down to his health. Nestor Cortez showed something which I wasn't expecting. He was showing the vintage Cortez from a couple of years ago. So, and he cruised right through. Now, I know it's the Marlins. And the Marlins, as I say, I was blown away by how uncompetitive their at-bats were. I need to see over a larger sample size whether that means that this is the vintage Nestor, the nasty or the Nestor. But at least it's a good sign. The great thing for me is the fact that Giancarlo Stanton is showing that he's still got the bat speed. Yeah. If anyone listened to Aaron Boone's really good segment with Talking Yanks, he points out a lot of things that we were thinking about, and for instance, Giancarlo Stanton, he pointed out that Giancarlo Stanton last year didn't have his lower half generating the power. He wasn't swinging through the ball with his lower half, and his bat speed just wasn't there because of it. But he still has elite bat speed. And he's still an elite power guy. It's just a matter of getting his swing right, and it's right. So it's very exciting to see. And I can't believe he didn't hit a home run yesterday. But apart from that, he was still crushing the ball.
Yeah.
He absolutely smacked a double down the line, and he's just everything he's seeing, he's just crushing. So we know this from Stanton, though. It's going to be over a 2-week block, and for that 2 week, everything that he's going to swing is just like, whoa.
Yeah.
But then he's going to completely fall apart for a couple of weeks. But this is just what he is. He's just he's a feast and famine guy. But it's great to see. And then in the meantime, Aaron Judge is going to get it together. Rizzo's been a little slow, been a little bit disappointed with him, but he's going to get it together because I'm not seeing anything technically wrong with his swing. It's just a timing issue with him. Same with Torres. Torres, like everything's fine. He's seeing a lot of pitches. He's just not getting the luck yet, but that will come too. So you're talking about a bunch of guys that are still to get it together. And when this whole thing comes together, this Yankee team is going to be absolutely unstoppable. I really think that they're gonna get a ton of wins. I still can't believe that John Heyman says that we're not going to make the playoffs. Like, what team are you watching, bro? Like,
well, John Heyman's not watching the games. Same thing with Baseball Reference. I think it was yesterday. They still had the odds of the Yankees making the playoffs at like 0.26 or some stupid.
No,
it was like the Yankees were a bottom of the barrel team.
That's why you can't always trust the stats and the analytics, because it doesn't buy heart, it doesn't buy chemistry, and it doesn't buy a bunch of things. It doesn't take into account any of these things, and we're seeing it. We can see it straight up. It doesn't take into account what Juan Soto actually means to an organization. Juan Soto is just the boss there. As Aaron Boone says, when he's up at the plate, that's his office, right? And he was teaching he teaches the umpire what the strike zone is. He shows the umpire what the strike zone is. He's like, no, that's a ball, bro. No, I'm not taking that. It's fantastic. He's just the boss, and he's going to win the MVP. I guarantee it. Just wrap it up now. He's crushing the ball. I can't wait till he starts hitting more home runs, which we saw the other night. Crushed the big home run, but apart from that, he's just doing whatever the pitcher's giving him. I love it. So I'm just very excited about this team. I think there's a lot of upside here. Rob, break down what you're seeing about what the Yankees and where you think they can improve on, or where they're at right now.
It's not much. Like the team's kind of playing. Aside from a couple of players, you want to see Wells get going. He's been unlucky. He's hitting the ball hard. His expected numbers are, I mean, if you want to look at the analytics, he's being very unlucky. He's been very unlucky. So I think he's going to break out sooner than later. Rizzo, I'm a little concerned with Rizzo because I don't know if those symptoms are still affecting him, and he maybe doesn't think it is, to a point where he doesn't want to say anything. But the fact that he's making errors that he usually doesn't make, his eye hasn't been that good either. His heads at bats have looked pretty terrible, and it's kind of gone under the radar because of how slow Stanton started, and even Judge's slow start. No one's really talking about it. So I want to keep a closer eye on Rizzo because it doesn't look pretty out there. But I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping it's just a slow start and he'll get going. Verdugo has had a great series, so it's good to
Rob,
see.
Just case in point there, when he struck out on that fastball that was head high. Yesterday, what did you think about that? Is that a sign that he's just not seeing the pitch?
I'm hoping that he's just timing is off. I'm hoping it's not like a symptom thing, because again, we're talking about the concussion that kept him out for as long as it did and affected him for as long as it did. So I'm praying I'm wrong. I'm hoping it's a timing thing, but that was unusual. Everything about him so far, and it goes back to what he did once he got hit in the head last year. Everything's been unusual, and you're like, that's not Rizzo. And then once it was discovered that he had a concussion, you're like, okay, it makes sense. But now his spring wasn't the best, and his start to the season has kind of left you
with questions,
kind of scratching your head. But I'm just hoping that I'm completely wrong about this, and he's breaking out.
I
soon,
don't think it's a case of being wrong. We can only judge what we're seeing. It's the same thing as last week we're discussing Stanton. It can all change on a dime. We can only discuss what we're seeing. At the moment, he is a little bit slow. But again, I don't see anything mechanically wrong with his swing, which makes me think that it's going to be okay. I just think that it's a timing issue. It's the same with Stanton. I think it was just a timing issue with him. And now that he's got his timing right, he's going to be great. I mean, there's notoriously slow starters around the league. I mean, as I mentioned before, there's Mark Teixeira never hit until June. So it doesn't. Sometimes when the weather gets hotter, you start to get hotter. And, maybe it's going to take a little bit of time with him, like it's going to take with Judge, but not overly concerned. Really, little concerned defensively. He's just a little. It was a little uncharacteristic for him. Normal Gold Glove first baseman.
Yeah.
Making that error yesterday, it's uncharacteristic. But Rizzo's like one of the very few that you could really critique. Verdugo, as I keep pointing out, but I do recommend listening to Boone these days on Talking Yanks. He's definitely a different guy. He's a lot more open and to the point. So he's a little bit more of an enlightening interview. So he was like, you know what we need from Verdugo is he's going to give you clutch at bats, and his defense is unbelievable in left field. And so that's why we're not seeing Grisham. So obviously I saw in the chat, we're like, oh, Grisham, he can't break into the team. Well, it's because Verdugo's been that good defensively. And the reason why Boone wanted to keep Verdugo out in left field yesterday was because Rodon's a fly ball pitcher. And you want to have a quality left fielder out there that can track down the ball. So, and it paid off because he played well and he hit that home run. So the moves that Boone's making has been generally very, very good. And we'll see plenty of Grisham. And it's a long season. Like at the moment, play your hot guys, play your hot hand, play this consistent lineup. And, once, as the season goes on, you're going to get plenty of opportunities to get Grisham involved and ingratiated in the team. Spencer, what are you thinking, guy? What are you thinking about how Boone's managing this year?
Well, I think I've always liked Boone. I that's how I stand out to you guys. I've always thought that he was generally a good manager. Not perfect, he's made some questionable moves over the year. But I think with Boone, it's easy for him to manage this year. Again, it's the Juan Soto effect. I just want to get back to what you said about Rizzo before. Rizzo is another one of these X factors. But if Rizzo, the guy that we know can perform, can do well, then the Yankees will do well too. I also think that with the lineup, that Boone has at his disposal, when you have a guy like Rizzo who may be getting off to a slow start, the rest of the Yankee lineup can carry him. At some point, Rizzo, he may start hitting the bat, and it'll be some other guy that starts slowing down. So this lineup is able to carry, they're able to carry each other. And that really makes it easy for Boone to put out a consistent lineup. And in putting out a consistent lineup, that's what players like. Players like to know where they're going to be. They like to know where they're going to be hitting. And they like to know what their role is in the lineup. When you're batting number 6, you have a specific role. When you're batting 9, you have a specific role. So if you take a guy out of the 9 spot and you put him in the 1 spot, all of a sudden, like, his thinking is different. It's a different game for them. So I think with Boone, it's the less that he has to do, the better that he does. And that's how he comes up looking well. And because the Yankees have been performing, it makes him look good. I mean, last year was just a mess. He had nobody to put in left field. He had to juggle around the bullpen. That could really be tough for any manager. And when you're making so many moves like that, eventually you're going to make a move that is going to hurt you. So the less that you have to do, you sort of let the team self-run, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing, no doubt.
That's a great point. I mean, the best teams, like the Savages in the box year, that team could basically manage itself. I think Boone's more comfortable that way. If you've got a team that's legit, he's very good at guiding. I think it's when you're in a situation where he's having to pull rabbits out of the hat. That's more of a Joe Torre kind of Hall of Fame kind of level manager that can handle that kind of stuff rather than the modern day manager.
Yeah.
And the Yankees have done a far better job chemistry wise this year. They've focused on chemistry by adding Verdugo. I think Soto. They've added guys that just have more to them, better to the locker room. Like Stroman is another good example. They've gotten rid of cancerous guys like. For me, Aaron Hicks was lazy on and off the field, and I think he brought that in the locker room. I don't think he was the right locker room presence. Josh Donaldson is an asshole. Nobody liked him throughout the league. He's the most hated guy in the league for a reason.
Yeah.
And so they got rid of that. And now you got guys who are good for the locker room. Nestor Cortez, lovable guy. Verdugo's perfect. Do you see when he hits that home run, everyone's doing the dog chants? Like, whoa. I mean, that's great. There's a different energy, different vibe. There's no laziness in this team anymore. There was a ton of laziness last year from certain guys, and I think it was out of Boone's hands. I agree with you. I can't blame Boone at all last year. Now he made some questionable decisions, but as you say, when you're having to constantly pull rabbits out of the hat, I mean,
Yeah.
you're kind of on a hiding to nothing.
Yeah.
That's why I never felt there was much upside to last year's team. Even though we started reasonably well, I was like, there's some issues here that's going to come up. But I don't see that this year. I see that this team isn't even wholly perfect yet, and we're 10-2. We're 10-2 without Garrett Cole, and we're 10-2 without Aaron Judge doing much of anything. And our most consistent offensive player last year was Torres, and he's not done much of anything either. And they're all due to both of them are due to get hot very soon. So I'm excited about this team and the trajectory that they're on, and much happier with Aaron Boone. I have to say, man, because I've been very critical of him. Us as a podcast have been critical of him, and I think a lot of content creators are critical of him.
Sure.
But you have to call him out, call fair, and I think he's done an excellent job this year. I really think that since day one, I've noticed a different energy about him. He's more focused. He's not just chilling out, like chewing his chewing gum. You can tell he is locked in on every single pitch, and he's helping guys. When Luis Gil was struggling, he coached Luis Gil in the dugout. When Angel Hernandez was ruining his start, he sat down with Luis Gil and he's like, "Bro, you are the man out there. You are a beast. Just block it out. Get out there, because no one can hit your 100-mile-an-hour fastball."
Yeah.
And he did. So that's what I want to see from a manager. So I think it's only fair that we give credit to Aaron Boone where it's due. So Uncle Tats, give me your thoughts on Boone so far.
No, I think Boone's been as close to flawless as we've seen since his tenure. Since the day he was hired. And I think Spencer hit it right. When the team's able to manage itself, what more is there to do? All you have to do is just put a consistent lineup up and let these guys play their game. It really comes down. It's that simplistic.
Yeah.
Could we have that debate on the leadoff spot? Absolutely. We could have that talk for 48 hours straight. With different opinions from every fan that's ever been, around. But it's that if it's not broke, don't fix it. And we saw this a couple years ago. When we were all comparing this team to the '98 year. With the run they were on. That's when Boone was able to purely manage the team. And I think at that point, it was one of those, Cashman saw the success and goes, I can make this better. And put the computers back in place, and everything fell apart. This year, we're seeing it again where Boone is able to manage, and you're seeing the success of the team. So maybe Boone doesn't suck. Maybe it's the computer and the analytics that suck, that takes the life out of out of the players.
Bobby, you hit it right on the head, man. Clearly, the team took a hard and serious look at their philosophy. Clearly, they did a massive change in the philosophy. Clearly, they're pushing the analytics away out of the picture, and they're letting the baseball guys, that is, the guys in the dugout, run the game a little bit. Because to echo what you're saying, Boone is letting the game dictate the moves. He's not dictating them.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point, man. I agree that
a quick side note, because I want to get Rob's opinion on it also. I just put in the chat also, we do not have a merch store, but if you're interested in getting anything, all you have to do is send a DM to Tattooed Craftswoman on Instagram. That is my wife's page for her business, and we will make the arrangements for the sale and shipping. Or if you don't have Instagram, just send me a message on my social medias, and we'll do that, because more merch will be on the way. There will be a big push for that this year as well. As the subscriber count goes up, you guys get more perks. So we are working.
Hit the sub button. Hit that sub button. We really very few content creators out there that do what we do. So hit the sub button for us. Rob, break down what you're thinking about Aaron Boone so far and whether there's a big philosophical change that you're noticing.
Yeah, I think they're letting him manage. I said it 2 years ago, like the first half of the season. That's kind of was my hot take was that Aaron Boone was, dare I say, looking like a fantastic manager because we barely spoke about him for a good 3 months of that season, 3.5 months. We didn't talk about Aaron Boone. We weren't complaining about him the way we were the years prior. We're like, this is a different guy. The team was doing things we haven't seen them do, hit and run, stealing bases, little things that matter in a baseball game that weren't just what the computer will tell you. And you're seeing a lot more of that this year, just simply down to the consistent lineups. The way I don't agree with some of the decisions, like taking Luis Heel out before he could get to the fifth, complete 5 innings. That was probably my only issue with him. Not taking out Trevino to bat for Wells. A couple of things that you're going to get from a manager every year, but those are minuscule compared to what he's been doing in the good way, the good term. So everything is looking great, and it seems like the talk that Boone got, or I mean Cashman got from Judge and Cole and the leaders on this team, that they really had to sit down and have a conversation this offseason. They're finally letting Aaron Boone manage, because a lot of us wanted Boone gone, but Aaron Judge didn't. Garrett Cole didn't. These guys didn't want Boone to go, and they went to bat for him. And now it seems like they're finally letting him manage. I'm waiting for him to blow up on an umpire, though. I'm shocked he didn't do it on Angel Hernandez, because he should have. He should have punched him in the mouth for that, for being honest.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Pure entertainment.
It's been a fantastic sight to see Boone just kind of let the players be the players and only have to pull them when they need to be pulled. He's making the right decisions. He's not leaving guys in too long, a batter, taking them out of batter too early. He's letting these guys play to their strengths, and that's what you want a good manager to do. He's a baseball guy. His entire family's baseball. His entire life is baseball. He knows what he's doing, but when you're forced to kind of take a back seat to a computer sometimes, it can affect the way you manage the game. So I'm not saying I've done a complete 180 on Aaron Boone. He still needs to go out there and do it once we get to October, and he needs to manage better than he did 2 years ago, because that was a terribly managed postseason. But so far, the early returns on Boone this year have been fantastic.
I agree, man. I completely agree on everything that you're saying. A lot of it is down to October. I need to see more in October from him. That's really the difference between Yankee managers. There's the regular season, but then October's a different kettle of fish. But everything that I'm seeing right now is great. But as I say, I think it was clear that there's been a philosophy change and a slight move. Now, they've not gotten rid of analytics, because analytics is going to be very, very important.
Oh, yeah.
But at least it's not the be-all and end-all.
Yeah.
It's clear that they are still allowing the game to be the game. Joe Torre always said, never forget this game has a pulse. So it looks like they've kind of paid more attention to that. They're just managing smarter. And I just love that we're not seeing constant changes. I love it. Now, do I really think that Gleyber Torres is the leadoff hitter? No. But do I love the fact that they've been consistent? Yeah. At least they've got a consistent plan. And every single day, you've got the same guys in the same role getting consistent production from these roles. And I think it's only going to be beneficial. And as I say, when Aaron Boone talks, I see a different manager there. When he's talked before, there's, he just seems a little bit unsure of himself, or a little bit, I don't know. I just never got that vibe. But this year, I've got a different vibe. He's just locked in. He's locked in, and I actually really enjoy listening to him, because he's actually got something to say, and he's not just saying what Brian Cashman's asking him to say. He's talking from the hip, and he's shooting from the hip, and he does actually know the game. We haven't actually seen that before. But when he talks now, you actually say, oh, shit, he does actually know the game really, really well. It's just that I think he was just having to answer for the organization, and he wasn't comfortable doing it because he looked a little uncomfortable. Now he seems very, very comfortable in his role, and I'm very comfortable having him in the dugout. And I agree with Donnie to some extent that I think Osmus has helped. I think Osmus has definitely helped. Now, we don't know. We don't really know what a bench coach does. We really don't know. It's the classic case of the assistant. right? But
Well,
we
just look
don't
at
know, but
Burns
it
symptoms. That's all
it
you know.
seems like it's a good thing. It seems like it's working well. You know what I mean? What do you think, Spencer?
I think one thing I really want to get at there also is you're seeing two things that the Yankees are doing this year that they didn't do last year. Making less mistakes. One,
Yeah.
look at the base running. They're not
Yeah.
getting caught at third base, making a third out. Now, season is short, I mean, there's a lot to go,
Good point.
but they look like they're a lot smarter on the bases. Two, they're a lot smarter with the fielding. Case in point, look at the Astros series, game 4. Game is very tight in the 9th inning. Altuve hits a screamer down third base. Birdie makes the play. And what does he do? He holds on to the ball instead of trying to go after Altuve. He knows who's at bat. He knows who's running. Why throw the ball into right field? Just hold on to it and wait for the next play. Trust the pitcher. Or look at Verdugo in the game the other night. Ball was hit to him. The runner from third scored. Instead of trying to throw him out, just throw it to the cutoff man. We're seeing things that you don't really notice, but they're very, very important. And those are less mistakes that are happening. They're playing much better fundamental baseball in those two aspects.
That's a great point. Salute to Robert Becker, his first time in the chat. Everyone say hello to Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Robert
Really
Becker.
nice to have you join us, man. Hit the sub button if you haven't already done so.
Yeah.
Donnie says Sunil Heel would be great in the pen. I'm sorry, he's a starter.
No.
He's a starter, man. Like he's got a fastball that only Garrett Cole can compete with. He's got an elite fastball. He's got elite stuff. Give him a chance. Give him a chance. It's too easy just to go bullpen because he's maybe only going 4 or 5 innings right now. But give him a chance, man. I mean, you can't overjudge because of the Angel Hernandez start. I think I'm judging on a curve on that, grading on a curve with that because Hernandez did everything to put him off.
Yeah.
It was a disgraceful job by the umpire. So his first outing, he was unbelievable. Yeah. We were all complaining that we took him out after 4 2/3 empty inning. With the bases empty, there was no reason to take him out. So I think he'd be great. I think he's going to be great with innings limit coming, Donald. Then I would. Well, why don't we deal with it when we get there? At the moment, Luis Gil has got elite stuff. I want to see it develop. Warren doesn't have the stuff that Luis Gil has. I can give you that for a fact. And who else do you want to step up in that spot? We're not got Garrett Cole yet. Who do you want to come in? You want Weaver in there? Weaver's bullpen guy, and he struggled the last outing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who you want to come in?
We're
At the end of the day, Luis Gil looks like he's got elite stuff. He just needs to stay in rhythm and keep the same mechanics, because sometimes you can lose the mechanics a little bit. But I think a lot of it is mental, because if he's getting squeezed, I think that hits him mentally. But he's a kid. He's a rookie. That happens. Give him a break.
Yeah, we're 10-2. So, I mean, you really want to make a change like that now? It's working.
No, exactly. Warren doesn't have heel stuff. Warren's got 5 or 6 okay pitches, but he doesn't have Luis heel stuff.
If he has an injury, okay, then you have.
What do you guys think? Do you think Warren or Heel right now? Let's start with Spencer.
Heel. That's it. Next
my boy, Rob.
In terms of better stuff, it's absolutely Luis Heel. If you're looking for a better arsenal, it's probably Warren. But if you're looking for a guy who has just the better stuff overall, it's Luis Heel.
Yeah, I agree. Uncle Taz.
No, I don't know how you go against Heel right now. It's if you look at his first start. I know we're trying to make this quick because I want to turn the floor over to Spencer to close this out. But when you look at Heel, he's a guy. Look, we said it right when the decision was made. Either way, there was no possibility for the fan to complain. Heel has shown up and shown that the Yankees, he's proven to the Yankees that they made the right call. Yeah. He had already had the rookie jitters out of the way because he was called up prior to the surgery. And I think that Heel is like, you know what? Cole is not in the picture. The The rotation, on paper looks very shaky. I'm going to give it everything I've got, and if it's enough, it's enough. If it's not, I'll just improve the next start. And you saw that, and like Donald, I think you put it perfectly. Because that last start with Angel Hernandez behind the plate, you have to grade him on a curve. You have to,
Absolutely.
because any competent, umpire behind there, his numbers would have looked different. His line would look different at the end of
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing, he's not just a two-pitch pitcher now. He's actually mixed in a changeup, which is
Yeah.
starting to really develop, and that's what's making his fastball play better. His fastball's got even more movement and life to it now, and it plays higher now that there's a 10-mile-an-hour differential between his changeup and his fastball. If he's throwing a 90-mile-an-hour changeup and then a 100-mile-an-hour fastball up and in, no one's touching it. That's why you got to run with that. I think that there's a lot more to work with there. I'm very excited about it. And I disagree that I also Donnie points out here another thing. He's saying that Heal's got injury problems. He had surgery, but so's half of baseball.
He has surgery
now. Like, if he has injury problems, he wouldn't be generating 100-mile-an-hour fastballs right now. Like, I think injury problems past him. But as I say, half of baseball right now has got surgery.
But
that's the entire Astros organization. So let's move on. But it's always good to have a little bit of debate.
Yeah, because I want Spencer to close this out. He's like, yes,
exactly.
Doesn't it serve us well? Doesn't it serve Heel well that he doesn't have to use his whole arsenal to get through a lineup the first and second time around? Doesn't it serve him better that he can have that new pitch in his back pocket? If a guy's going deeper into an account, that he can just whip that out that they're not expecting. Isn't that something? That's how I'm looking at it. So he's got his third pitch, with the cutter now, or the changeup rather. If he doesn't have to use it all the time, and he could use that on certain occasions, for a long at bat to kind of get to hit his timing off. Sometimes it's not. You don't need a deep arsenal to be an effective pitcher. You just need to have effective pitches. Rob?
Yeah.
Even if, look, they could easily do is when Garrett Cole comes back, they could send Heel down just to keep him as a starter. Because if you put him in the bullpen immediately when Garrett Cole's back, that's not helping him because he's got that rhythm now. He's going to be starting every fifth day. Now he's got the rhythm. So if you put him in the bullpen as soon as Cole is back, you could be affecting him more because now his routine changes, and that could lead to an injury. So I would not be surprised if they sent him down when Cole comes back. I'm not sure if he has an option left. I have to check on that, but that could be what they do. If not, then Nestor's going to have to go to the bullpen, or maybe Clark Schmidt. Again, it all depends on who's pitching well. We still have 2 months until we see Garrett Cole, so we don't really know. But for now, anyone who it's the automatic assumption that Heel is going to be the next closer. I don't want to hear that because he's doing it as a starter. Yeah, is it 5 inning sample sizes? Sure, but for right now, our number 5 starter is giving you 5 innings. That's fine. You're going to take that. If you would have told me that Luis Heel filling in for Garrett Cole is going to be able to give you anywhere between 4 2/3 or 5 1/3 inning each start, you're going to take that because we need it. We need someone to fill in for Garrett Cole. And so far, again, he struck out 8 batters and he didn't get any help from that douchebag of an umpire. So Luis Heel has been fantastic. And it's 2 starts in. He's really been good. So let's let him keep building because after next year, when Stroman's gone and we don't know what Nestor's going to be gone, where's Clark Schmidt going to be? Cole's going to be 2 years older. Rodon's going to be 2 years older. We're going to need some of these kids to step up. And the fact that Heel has got a leg up on all these other prospects in our system is incredibly loaded, but they're all prospects at this point. Luis Heel could be a potential number 3 in this rotation in the next couple of years. So let's keep him at that starter trajectory unless something happens for them to have to change that.
Yeah.
Let Heel cook. Now, I want to close it out by talking to Spencer. Spencer, how's the recovery going? How are you doing? And share with us how you're doing.
Thanks for giving me the floor, guys, because I really wanted to come on and say some remarks that are important for me. Well, first of all, for anybody in the chat who doesn't know, I've become afflicted with a very, very, very rare autoimmune condition. I've developed a vasculitis. The vasculitis has resulted in antibodies which recognize my optic nerves as foreign bodies. And as a result, I've got swelling around my optic nerves and I'm blind. There is a chance for recovery, but it is going to be a very long road. The rarity of my condition, my neuro-ophthalmologist told me yesterday. My neuro-ophthalmologist is excellent. He's world renowned. And in his years of treating patients and studying the optic nerve, he told me that I'm only the fifth case that he's ever encountered. That doesn't mean I'm the fifth case in the world, but that tells me that if you talk to other neuro-ophthalmologists, the condition that I have that leads to total blindness is something that they rarely, rarely encounter. So that's what's going on with me today. So there is hope that I'll get my eyesight back. I believe I'll get my eyesight back, and I'm counting on that to happen. I was in Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia for 2 weeks. Prior to that, I was a healthy guy. I never took any medication. I
Spencer,
exercised.
explain, did you just wake up and then you had no vision? Like, what happened? Like,
No, that I went to work and I noticed some blurring in my left eye. It wasn't really much. I figured a good night's sleep would determine whether I have to see a doctor for it or not. I woke up the next morning, the blurring had gotten worse. So
Right.
we went to we went to my doctor. We went to a couple ophthalmologists. The first ophthalmologist that I went to said that your problem is such as that you need an even more specialized ophthalmologist than what I can do for you. Okay.
Wow.
So we went to the second ophthalmologist. The second ophthalmologist said, you need to get to Will's Eye Emergency Room in Philadelphia because your problem is beyond even what I can do for you. And that was very worrisome for me. When we left that doctor's office, I wept. I wept to my wife and I said, I've got a real serious problem. But I also walked out of there thinking, okay, it's only the left eye. At least I got my right eye.
Yeah.
After a day of getting drops in my eyes, I went home and there was a Yankee spring training game on. So I'm sitting down watching the game, waiting for my eye to improve. And as the night goes on, my right eye is starting to crap out. And I told my wife, I said, I'm starting to lose vision in my right eye. And this is at almost 11 o'clock at night. And we've got to make a faithful decision. Do we go down to Philadelphia in the middle of the night or do we wait until morning, get an early start? Well, ultimately, I didn't want to wake up blind. So we made arrangements for our daughters and we drove to Philadelphia to the Will's Eye Emergency Room. I ended up being admitted into the hospital. I wasn't expecting that. And I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. That was a very, very difficult experience. Part of the difficulty was that the doctors could not come up with a diagnosis. They couldn't tell me what was happening or why it was happening. And it was very worrisome to me because they couldn't really assess if my blindness would be a temporary experience or if it was something permanent. I eventually got out of the hospital after 2 weeks. And when I finally met with Dr. Surgut, the world-renowned neuro-ophthalmologist that I'm working with, he told me that they had a diagnosis, and that was good because there was at least a path and treatment that could be used to, give me a chance to get my eyesight back. During this ordeal, when I was in the hospital especially, you're just trying to kill time. You're just trying to look for avenues to normalcy. One of those avenues to normalcy for me was your podcast. I knew that you guys were on at 10 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I was able to catch you. Sometimes they'd have me for a CAT scan or an angioplex or some other procedure. So I wouldn't be able to watch your show in that regard. Now, my dental practice is closed. I spend a lot of time on my couch. I'm still spending a lot of time killing time. But your show is one of the things that gives me an avenue to normalcy. I want you guys to know how important your show is to me. And it's not just to me. Anybody out there that might be going through adversity that watches your show, uses your show as something to help them feel better, to be able to connect. Your show isn't just a bunch of guys talking about Yankee baseball. Your show, this show is a reflection of how this Yankee thing, this Yankee energy is in millions of fans. And we want to do things like talk about the Yankees, talk about baseball, talk about our favorite team. And you guys give the fans that. And I hope that more people will come to your show and be able to join in and experience that. And that's what it's done for me. Your show has taken my mind off of my problems, and it's allowed me to engage on things that, might not be life and death, but they're important to me, just like they are important to you. And I
I love
thank you
that.
for that.
I
And
love
I
that.
wish you guys nothing but continued success. And I really am excited to see the direction that the show is going. And I really want to see it get as big as possible. And I'm thankful. And I thank you for letting me be on your show. And I want to see the show grow. I'm glad to be at the beginning of the Pinstripe Chronicles. And I
You
can't wait
were, you were,
for
you
it.
were the OG, my guy.
Yeah,
You were
he's
Pittsburgh
Hutchins
Chronicle
OG.
OG. You are
I
OG
like it.
fan right from the beginning. So, like, honestly, it's an honor to say for you to say that we help you in some small way.
Yeah,
You know, it just reminds me
a lot of
of
people.
Tats. Can I just finish? It reminds me of the time but during COVID, when everyone was really, really scared and we were locked in, and we just needed an outlet, we just needed an outlet to someone. So I was listening to the Michael K show, and it was just something for me, an outlet, just something that wasn't life or death, just something to enjoy and to share the love and the passion that you have. And I'm really glad that we're able to do that to some small extent with this podcast. It honestly means the world. And I know there's much bigger things in this world. We've all been through it, but where whatever you can do to find some joy in your day, it's really important for your recovery. And so I'm really glad that you're able to find that, Spence. So what's your day to day like right now? Like, are you got 0% vision, or have you got a little bit of
I
vision?
have
Like,
no vision right now. When people
right.
ask about my vision, I see things in levels of darkness. There is dark, then there's kind of medium dark, and then there's really, really dark. When it's
Okay.
really, really dark, that's uncomfortable, meaning it's scary. That's dark where there's a scene in the movie Terminator 2 Judgment Day where she's having a dream sequence and she opens a door. And when she opens the door, the character, Lisa Connor, it's just blackout with very foreboding skies. That's what really dark is. When it's kind of regular dark, it doesn't mean that I can see any light, but I get a sense that there's daylight. Things are kind of calm. When things are kind of medium dark, that's when things are like a little unsettled. I have to use my mind to sort of tell myself, okay, it's daytime. I feel my furniture. Kids are at school. I can feel the floor. I can sort of make my way around. I feel oriented as well. When things get very, very dark, I feel like I'm in a coffin, and it can be
That
claustrophobic.
must be frightening, man.
It's very
So
uncomfortable.
what provisions do you have right now for your care? Do you have I take it your wife must be looking after you and stuff like that. What's the provisions for your care now?
My wife has been my rock. My wife is definitely married to a stubborn husband. To quote Alec Baldwin from the film The Departed, marriage is a very important part of getting ahead. It tells the world there's at least one person that can put up with the son of a bitch. That's definitely my wife. When we go to doctors, I just want the bullet points. What
Yeah.
do I need to do? Am I going to get better? My wife asks all the questions. She gets all the details. Sometimes I grit my teeth. I'm sitting there thinking, do we really need to know this? Do we really need to ask this? But we do. That's what a good wife does for you.
Yeah.
My wife
Well,
knows that her
that's
husband tries to do more than he should. Like I've started exercising again. And of course, as you guys may understand, I probably want to overdo it. She makes sure that I don't overdo it. And she makes sure that I protect myself from myself. Another thing I would like to point out to the audience as well, because I know a lot of them are on Twitter. As you guys know, I got to opening day, but I got to opening day because of your help, because of Yankees Twitter. You guys saw my message and you guys echoed my message and you reached out to the New York Yankees and you made it happen for me and my daughter. And you gave us a day that we'll never forget. Yeah, the result of the game was not what we wanted, but really for me, it was just a magical day having everybody come over, say hello to me, sign my white cap. I mean, that meant so much to me. But I want to thank you guys and I want to thank everybody in the chat. for making that happen. That really put me in tears. You guys wanted it way, way, way more for me than I even wanted it for myself. And I thank you for that. And I thank you and Yankees Twitter for that.
Well, God bless you, your wife, and your kids, and God bless the Yankees for doing that for you. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Uncle Tats, what are you thinking, my guy?
It's hard to put. It's really hard to put the words. Especially if I've been in touch the whole time. Whether if he can't sit and listen, he'll text me what his thoughts are, and I'll relay them while we're on the air. And yeah, I'm a little emotional, so deal with it. This is life, but no, I'm just glad. I'm glad that you're so optimistic about it. And something that could have really just torn you apart, you've made it strong. You've made yourself stronger, and we should all learn. We should all learn from that. That's what I'm going to say.
I appreciate that, Bobby. Yeah, I'm just you got to stay positive. I will say, when I was in that hospital, I was in a lot of despair. When I was in the hospital, the first few days, with this darkness before me, I mean, it was very claustrophobic. I had some panic attacks. Fortunately, the panic attacks have passed, but occasionally they do come up. I'd also like to give my public service announcement. I'm going to put this on Twitter in a video also. When you're blind, I don't have a virtual reality like vision of the world. I can't just, I've gotten lost in my dining room. I've walked into walls. All of a sudden there'll be a wall in front of me where I thought there'd be a window. I get disoriented. There were a couple times I've gone outside, again, trying to do more than I can. One time I was outside, I got so disoriented, I started waving my hands around like a crazy man. I heard cars and people passing by me. It was around the time that my daughter's school bus came home. She got off the bus and asked me very quizzically, "What the hell are you doing, Dad?" I said, "Elisa, get me into the house." Where was I? And she said, "You're just on the sidewalk in front of our house." The other day also, I took myself out for a little walk. I was in better control, but I ended up walking into somebody's driveway. And fortunately, a neighbor saw me and got me back on the right track. If you ever see somebody that's blind, anybody in the chat, if you ever see anybody that's blind, offer them help. Even if they look confident, even at the risk of finding that one blind person that might answer you antagonistically because they might be the kind of person that wants to do things on their own. Don't allow that to happen. The world is not meant for blind people. No. Even if they don't accept your offer, they will still be glad that you gave a damn enough just to offer them help and to just keep an eye on them. That'll make them feel better. So when you see the blind, definitely help them out.
I agree. So Spencer, did the doctors give you anything? Are you thinking maybe getting like a seeing eye dog or anything like that to help you?
No, nothing like that. I mean, I've had occupational therapists come in to offer me help, but by and large, it's just been trial and error and just familiarity as a friend and being out of that hospital as a friend. Although I will say, if you guys ever have any kind of medical problem at all, I highly recommend the medical teams in Philadelphia. They are excellent. And if you ever have any problems with your eyes, I highly recommend that you get to the Wills Emergency in Philadelphia. Also, keep it in mind. They are excellent because, again, this type of specialty, it's rarity. If what happened to me happened in Wyoming or Minnesota or Tennessee, I'd be in a lot of trouble. I really would be. I'm very fortunate that I live just 60 miles from Philadelphia and can get the care I need. I am lucky in that way.
Well, they've obviously done an amazing job, and I have full belief that you will recover fully.
Thank you,
I do. I believe fully. Just hold on to that hope, man. I do believe that for you. Let's end the podcast on a high. Rob, what are your thoughts on tonight's game? Gonna get the sleep?
Well, let me just say this because Spencer, you have been here since the start of this thing. I can't imagine what you're going through. We just did a 12-hour marathon charity stream for Chris and her husband Pete, and it was a success, and we wish all the best for him, of course. But the whole time we can't help but we're always thinking about you. So you've been here since the start, and you got me teary-eyed there when you were saying how much this show meant to you. So I just want to say thank you for that, and You've been here since day one. We love you, man, and we know that you're going to get through this. Just like the Yankees are going to get through this series with the sweep. So that's how I'm going to finish out my thoughts. They're going to win this goddamn championship this year for you, my dude, because we love you, Spence, and we can't say enough how much we appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
You've been here since the start. You're always chiming in. You're always, even when you come in on the open panels when we had them, you're always bringing in good energy. So the hats of the day, everything you do, man, it's just, you're always a breath of fresh air and you're always a positive vibe. Even through all this, you've kept it positive. And
thank you.
I don't know if I would have been able to do that. So we applaud you, Spencer. You're a fantastic dude.
Thank you, guys.
Let's also mention before we sign off, when you watch the Upper Deck on Sunday, when you get the trivia question, Spencer's the one that's putting that together. He's the one doing the research to find the perfect question for the perfect setting of the year, depending on what's going on. So he's, you're not just, a subscriber, or you are a part of this family.
Thank you, Bob.
You always will be. So,
thank you, guys.
But with that, let's close this out before we all start crying on the air. Just everybody hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out with your friends, your family, the stranger on the corner, and as I always say, will you pitch your pride and play on?
Let's get the sweep.
Take it easy. Go Yanks.
All right.